She asked what we have to make today.
Okay, I will start talking about the craft after the prayers, all right, everyone? Okay. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadambhayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Gunam Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Shri Vishakanvitam Sha Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Chakarpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namustate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishapana Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so now once everyone has gotten their materials, just turn your camera on so that I know you have your materials ready. The materials are posted in the chat, but I'll say it once more. You need a glue stick or liquid glue is fine too. You need a pencil. You need 2 or 3 different colors of paper, and then a pair of scissors. Doesn't need to be sticky notes. It can be any type of paper that you have. I'm just using sticky notes because that's what I have available, but construction paper or cardstock paper is also fine.
So we just take basically paper.
Yeah, just make sure they're different colors.
Okay.
I will wait 1 more minute and then after that, I'll start the craft. All right, guys?
Does it have to be different colors?
If you don't have different colors, then it's fine, but it won't look as nice if they're not different colors. All right, I will start the craft now. So today, what we are making a flower that looks like this. As you can see, you're going to need different colors so that you can layer them and it makes it look better. But if you don't have more than one color, it's fine. It just won't look as good. All right, and you can make it any size you want, but if you make it a little smaller, then it will be easier because if you're using bigger pieces of paper, it will be harder to manage. All right, okay, let's begin. So first, what you're gonna need, you're gonna have to choose a color that you want on the base, and then choose a color that you want on top of the base. So for this one, you see how I used pink on the base, and then purple is on top. The purple is always on top of the pink. So just like that over here, I'm gonna choose pink to be the base, and I'm gonna choose the orange to be always on top of the base, okay? So then once you figured out what colors you want where, you're gonna start to make a petal. You can make it anywhere on the paper because you're gonna use this petal later on to trace the other flowers, okay? And just make a petal. I'm sure most of you or all of you guys know how to make a petal. It doesn't have to be perfect because you can always cut it on later to make it look better. And then once you've got, as you can see, this petal doesn't look perfect, but once you start cutting it, you can shape it to however you want it to look like. So once you have your petal, just start cutting it.
Mataji, what do you do?
Can you repeat the question?
Like, can you explain the whole thing again?
The whole thing? Like the petal? How to
Yeah.
make the- Okay. So basically, take your piece of paper and draw in the corner. Don't draw in the middle. Draw in one of the corners. Just a simple petal shape like this. If you're having confusion on how to draw a petal, I'll show you guys. So start from some point. I'm going to start from here, this little dot. Okay, and then from that point, the two lines. Do you guys, if you guys know what parentheses look like, kind of like parentheses. Like that. It doesn't have to be perfect because once you cut your piece of petal out, then you can always use your scissors to shape it into the shape you like. All right, if anyone has their petal done, just show it in the camera. I joined late. What are the steps? Okay, it's fine, Mishika. We just started. All you need is a few different colors of paper, a pencil, and a glue stick.
Do we need to put the petals on the sticky parts?
Sticky parts, sure, if you want. It doesn't really matter. These aren't really sticky notes that I'm using. These are just memo pads, but if you have sticky notes, then I guess anything is fine. Okay, so now I'll be moving on. Once you have your petal shape, you can try to trim it to make it look the way you want it to. Like for me, I'm gonna cut this part off.
Is this petal good?
Let me raise your hand. Yes.
I'm the one who has my hand raised.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good petal. All right. All right. So it looks like most people have gotten their petal cut out. So I'm gonna move on. Next, what you need to do, you're gonna have to draw a circle somewhere in your paper. If you want something, like if you have something lying around, like a small circle, like for an example, I have this nail polish lid. You can use any circular object to trace. Or if you don't want to trace, it's fine. You can just freehand it.
Is it okay if the petal looks like this?
Raise your hand.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, that is perfect.
It's this one.
That is perfect.
உங்க ஆல்மோஸ்ட் முடிக்க போறாங்க ஃபர்ஸ்ட் இது
Everyone. Okay. So now once you have your petal and you've drawn your little circle, use this petal to trace and make a perfect flower shape. You can fit as many petals as you want, but I'm gonna do 4. If you can fit more than 4, like 5, then you can go ahead and do that. So you see, I traced this petal here. You're just gonna have to trace it all throughout. Like that. You keep going around and around, tracing the petal onto your paper. This part's a little tricky, so you're gonna have to be focused. If anyone's done making their flower, just go ahead and show it in the camera.
I just joined, so what are we doing?
If you joined now, then it will be a little tricky to catch up. But we're making this flower. But it's a little late now, so it's gonna be hard to catch up because we already did a lot.
So are we just making one flower?
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so once you're done tracing your flower, just cut it out.
What if we don't have sticky notes?
You can use any type of paper you want. I'm just using sticky notes, but anything works.
My flower's pretty
Because I don't have the colored paper that you have.
You can use any type of paper as long as it's colored. You can use construction paper, you can use sticky notes, you can use memo pads. Just make sure that it's colored and make sure you have a few different colors. At least 2 different colors would be good.
So what have you guys done so far?
All that we have done so far is tracing a flower and cutting it out. It's gonna take some time though for you to catch up.
Okay. So are we making anything else besides the flower?
If we have time, we would make leaves. Okay, now let's move on. So once you have your flower cut out in one color, take your other color that you chose and then trace it onto that paper.
Should we cut out the first flower that we made?
Yes, cut it out and use it to trace your second flower. And then once you have your second flower done, you can cut that one out as well. So as you can see, I'm done cutting my 2 flowers. So once you're done with that, you're gonna have to choose another piece of paper. Based on what flower you're choosing as your base, I'm gonna use my pink flower as the base, like this. So then that means the same color that you're using as your base, you have to choose that color now for the next step, all right? So once you've chosen the color that you need, you're gonna have to cut 4 long strips of paper from that. Not too long, maybe around the same length as one of your flower petals. Cut strips that are the same length as that. You can make it a little longer, just a little longer than your flower petals. That's how long your strips have to be. So as you can see, I'm making my strips of paper a little longer than my flower petals, just about a centimeter longer. That's all you have to do.
Does the second flower needs to be the different color?
Yeah, but if you don't have different colors of paper, then it's fine. You can use the same color. All right, so once you have your strip of paper, cut it into smaller strips of paper so that they're about this thin, very thin. You see how thin these strands of paper are? That's how thin yours have to be, or maybe you can make them even a little thinner if you want to.
Mataji, how many strips do we have to make?
I would say 4, but you can make a little more or a little less, but 4 would be the best amount.
Okay.
Yes. I'm gonna wait 1 more minute for everyone to make these strips. All right, so once you're done cutting the strips, all you're gonna have to do is glue them into circles like this. You can maybe use your pencil to help you glue them. Or if you want your strips or your circles to be a little bigger, then you can use your finger as a guide. To glue them into circles, you're just gonna have to put a little amount of glue at the end of each strip like this. And then you wrap your strip around something. And then glue the other side of the strip to the end of the glued side. Just like this. Yes? Does someone have a question?
Do we glue both of the flowers together?
You can do it now if you want to, but it's easier if you do it towards the end, all right?
Yeah, I just finished with my second flower, and I forgot the rest of that you said. Can you say it again? Sorry.
Yeah. All you have to do is just cut 4 thin strips of paper like this, just 4 thin strips. And make them a little bit longer than your flower petals like this. See how it's just a little bit longer than my flower petal. Okay, so once you have your strip, glue it. Oh my God, this doesn't glue. Okay. This part is hard, so it's gonna take a few trials and errors to get it to stick. Again, I'll repeat the instructions for gluing the strips into circles one more time, that anyone who missed it. You get your strips of paper, put glue onto one side of the paper towards the edge, just the tip of the piece of paper, and then wrap your strip of paper around something, whether it's your pencil or your finger. Wrap it around, and then with your other strip, the other side of the strip of the paper, glue it back to the glued side like that. Make sure you do that with all of your strips of paper, all right? All right, so once you have your 4 circles of paper, you're gonna want to see if it's around the same size. Make sure they're not too big or too little from each other. They should be around the same. And then the last thing you need is to make a small circle, a very small circle. So as you can see, my base color is pink, then my second color is orange. And then again, I made pink small circles. So then I'm gonna have to use orange again and make a really small circle, not a ring, just a circle. And you can make it pretty tiny, like this small maybe. You see how small the circle is here? You're gonna have to make it that small. And then you cut it out. Like that. So once you are done, you're gonna have 2 big flowers, 4 rings, and then a really small circle right here. I'm gonna give you guys a minute to catch up. So once you have all of the parts of your flower, like the rings, the 2 big flowers, and then the small circle, we can start bending and gluing the different parts together. So as you can see on this flower, the petals of the flowers are bended. So just like here, just bend your flowers in half, just like so. Make sure you bend it on both sides so that you have creases on all of your flowers. And then once you're done with that, you can glue them together. Just apply glue to the bottom of the center of your second flower, the flower that is going on top. Like so.
Mataji, it looks like a ninja star.
Yes, my flowers are a little skinny, so they look like a ninja star. And then once you've done that, put it on top of your second flower. Don't put it directly on top like this. Put it on top at an angle like this so that you can see all 8 petals at the same time. All right. Then after that, you take your little rings that you made, fold them flat like this. So it looks like one single strip of paper. Fold it in half. Do that with all of your rings. And then once you have your rings that are smushed down, you're going to want to glue them in the center of your flower. As they are done here, you're going to want to do it there. First, you're going to want to have one that goes from left to right. Thank you. All right. A strip of paper that goes left to right, just like this. With the next strip of paper that you have, you're gonna make one that goes up and down. On top. So now you have a little plus sign. With the two strips of paper that you have left, make diagonals. One going from the top corner to the bottom corner, and another one that goes from the top corner to the bottom corner, but in a different direction. Just like this. After you're done, you should have a little mini flower on top of your two flowers. I'll move it a little closer so you can see. Just like that. Basically, it should be an X on top of a plus so that you get 8 strips of paper going in different directions. And then finally, you take your little piece of paper that you made, that little circle that you made earlier, and put it on top. The circle that I made, as you can see, is a little small, so I'm gonna be cutting out a bigger circle. So then with the circle that you made, just glue it on top of your flower, like that. Just like that. Everyone, please mute yourself. All right. So once you're done with your flower, just show it in the camera so I get an idea of how many people are done. Or you can raise your hand. Once you're done making your flower, just raise your hand. All right. Good job, Garima. If you're still working on your flower, just raise your hand. Okay, there are still a few people that are working on their flowers, so I will give you guys 1 more minute. In the meantime, for anyone that's still left, go look for paper that is nice and big.
Mataji, what are we gonna make next?
We're just gonna make leaves to go along with the flowers.
Okay.
Mataji, I just saw how make it, but not made it. Okay, that's fine. That's fine too. Okay, looks like most people are done, so we're gonna move on now. So once you have your bigger piece of paper, you're gonna want to cut out a lily pad. Does anyone know what a lily pad looks like?
It's a circle with a little slit.
Yes, that is correct. It doesn't have to look like a perfect circle. If you want, it can look like a little oval too. All right. If you want, you can make your slit a little bigger, a little smaller, whatever works for you. And then just cut your lily pad out. All right. And then once you have your lily pad done, take your flower and put it on top. See if it's big enough. If possible, you can adjust your flower a little bit so that it bends a little bit more up. You can do this by turning it onto its back and folding the petals up like that. See? All you gotta do is bend them up so that the petals point upwards. Just like this. And then once you're done with that, you're gonna wanna cut out big leaves. The leaves don't have to be perfect, so as you can see, I'm not drawing them. I'm just cutting them as I go.
Mataji, where do we put the leaves?
First, just cut out the leaves. You can cut out 2 or 3.
Okay.
The leaves don't have to look the same. All right. So as you can see, I have 2 leaves here. Is my video blurry for you guys? Or is it fine?
Oh, it's fine.
It's fine, all right. So then once you're done cutting out your petals, or not your petals, excuse me, your leaves, again, you're gonna want to fold them in half and give them a nice crease so that it has the natural shape of a leaf. And then take your pencil and give them the designs that a leaf would have. If you want, based on the color of your paper that you use to make a leaf, you can get a colored pencil, but that's just optional. So basically for the designs of a leaf, you're going to want to draw a line along the crease. And then draw lines pointing up that are coming out of the line in the middle, like this. You can add as much designs or details to the leaves as you want. Now this part is a little tricky, all right? Once you've got your lily pad, you've got your flower, and you've got your leaves, you're gonna take your leaves. If you made 2, that's fine, or if you made 3, that's fine. I only made 2. You're basically gonna want them to go in different directions like this. Don't group the leaves up together like this. You have to want them going in different directions like this. And glue them down on the base of the leaf, all right? You take your glue, apply it on the base. And then you glue it down on your lily pad. Like so. After this, you can add some details to your lily pad, just like you added details to your leaves. Maybe you can add a line going through the middle. And then lines going out. Lily pads usually have designs a little different from the leaves. It's a little more that looks like this, just lines going out. So you can do that. It's easier to make the lines once your leaves are glued so that you don't gauze them. Just lines that go like this, all right? They don't have to look perfect as long as they're going out from the middle of your lily pad, then it's fine. All right. Okay, and then once you have that done, you can glue your flower on top, just like so. Apply glue to the base of your flower, not on the petals, just the base. And then you're done. You've got a flower on a lily pad. And now that you're done, you can add your final touches. Maybe you can trim the lily pad a little bit, or you can trim the leaves. I am gonna trim my leaves because I feel like they're too long. Just add your finishing touches to make it look the way you want it to look. Maybe you can even trim some of your flower petals, or you can make the cut in the lily pad a little deeper. This cut right here. Just like so. And then you're all done. Would everyone like to show their crafts in the camera? Yes, good job, Pragya. Good job, Garima. Good job, Tarakeshwar. Good job, Akshita. Who else? Did anyone else finish? Yeah, I'm gonna raise mine a little more. Good job, Svadha. All right. So before I end the call, if anyone wants me to go over any of the steps one more time, or if anyone's still on the last step, just let me know.
Mataji, can we leave if we're done?
Yes, you can go ahead and leave it if you're done. Make sure once you leave the group or once you leave the call, send a picture of your artwork to the homework group chat, all right?
Okay.
Okay, Bye Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Bye, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Bye Mataji, Hare.
Bye, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gehna. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, see you